Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Darius from ArtistShortcut.com, and in this video we're going to talk a little bit about what to expect from a record label or what a label does for you as a newly signed artist. The first thing to note is that a record deal is negotiable. Almost everything inside a record deal is negotiable. If you're let's say you're a newly signed artist and you don't have a big fan base, or you don't really bring much to the table, you're not going to have that much negotiation room to say, I want this and I want that, and you can't have this and you can't have that. They're going to say, we're going to give you this and you either take it or leave it, right? You don't have much, I don't want to say value to them as a label, but that's kind of what it is. You just don't have much pull at the moment. If you have more of a fan base and you have shown that you can do things on your own, you have a little bit more pull, so you can negotiate different things, whether that be, what you own, what you don't own, the profits that you tend to take from certain things and how much the label takes. You get to negotiate a little bit more about that. But every label will have their own clauses based on what risk they're willing to take and what they feel they deserve for signing you. One of the main things you should expect from your record label is to fund your activities, to fund your career for the most part. So let's say, right, you sign a new deal. Usually you're going to have what's called an advance. And I'm sure most of you watching this have already heard people talk about advances and like how it's just a loan and all this other stuff. I'm not going to go that deep in this video, but for the most part, they're going to give you some money up front to say, we're giving you this money up front and we need you to make X. X could be an album, it could be a single, it could be whatever it is. They're going to give you some money up front, or you can take the money up front. Depending on your situation, you may need to take it, or you may just say, I'll take it, hold on to it, not spend it, don't worry about it. Or you negotiate that out, whatever you choose to do. But they're going to fund your career for the most part. As you can kind of expect, it's a give and take there. So they're going to give you some money and they're going to expect something else, right? They're not just going to give you this money for free and say, oh, well, we signed you, here's $100,000, like, cool. No. I mean, maybe if you have some type of pool already, you can negotiate that, but that's not usually the case. So they're going to fund we're in this situation, we're going to say fund your first album. So what they're going to do is they're basically going to say, this is how much we expect your first album to cost. And we're going to put together kind of like a fund. And they're going to say, we're going to give you 40 grand as an advance, which, that's solely for making your first album. Basically, you're gonna have rules set in place of like what an album is, like what they expect out of it, all of that stuff. That should be part of your contract. But they're gonna give you this fund, and you're gonna get, let's just say you sign for $40,000 up front. This $40,000 advance is not like, usually it's not like they're gonna write you a check for 40 grand and just let you do what you choose to do. Usually it's going to be like, here's a fund, contact this person when you need money for whatever that may be, right? If you got studio time, like, cool. Here's my invoice for studio time. I need you to pay that out. Or, hey, I need to go buy these clothes and these costumes. I'm thinking it's going to cost about $500, $600 for this video shoot. Cool. Like, they'll give you that money out. Now, I have seen that some labels, depending on if it's like a much smaller advance, right? Not all record deals are going to be signed with the majors, right? The Sony, the Warners, like, not all deals are going to be like that. Some deals are going to be on a much smaller scale. So let's say you take your first deal is, a $5,000 advance. Depending on that specific label, they might just write you $5,000, like a $5,000 check, or do a ACH deposit or whatever it is, and like let you spend it how you see fit. Especially if you're like close to the people running that label, or like you have some type of relationship already. But they're gonna give you this money up front and let you do what you want. I have seen more cases than not, it's a fund. They want to know, like, right? They don't want you to just take 40 grand and spend it on chains and then you have nothing to show for it. and they kind of just lost out on money because they didn't get what they basically gave you the money for. So you should expect them to fund your music career. The next thing you should expect from your record label is to outsource your team. Now, you may actually take the initiative to build things like your manager, right? Your manager is usually someone that's close to you. You'll have things like booking managers and maybe like a product manager who handles the merchandise. To keep it simple, right, these are all like supervisors in a way. They're managers, supervisors, whatever you want to call them. But your day-to-day manager, that's with you on a day-to-day basis. They're helping you out with things. They're very intimate, and they're like a close friend almost with how much time they're going to spend with you. So you want to really pick that person because, right, you're going to spend the most time with them, and you really don't want to be around somebody that you don't know, don't trust, or don't like. You don't want that at all. But with the label, you get to outsource things like your designer, or your labelist should be the ones handling that, the marketing business side of it. So that means your designers, they're going to handle that. Your legal counsel, they'll usually handle that as well. Now, that's not always a good thing for you. You typically want to have your own legal counsel, but that can be made difficult, especially depending on your situation, if you have the funds to have your own legal counsel when you're signing the deal and all that stuff. Usually a lot of artists that come, right, they come from the struggle, they come from nowhere, from the hood, whatever. Like, they don't usually have the bread to say, like, I got my own legal counsel for this deal. But you always want to have somebody look over your deal, an entertainment lawyer, business lawyer, whatever it is, attorney, however you want to call, whatever you want to call them. But you want somebody knowledgeable to look over that. But your label, let's say you get sued because you didn't show up on time for something, like, your label will usually have the legal counsel to support you. Now, where that money comes from is a different story. So they may take that out of and say, like, hey, this is additional debt that you now owe us, and we're going to recoup that. Or they, right, depending on how valuable you are as an artist, they may just say, don't worry, this one's on us. So all that can depend. But you should expect them to have your legal counsel, team building as far as like your designers, developers if you need it, right? Your website. If you decide to do any like merchant integrations on your website, or if you choose to go with something like a Shopify or whatever it is you choose to do. Think about the public relations person, like PR, whoever is handling like that side of it, the communications, the marketing side, who's doing like the paid advertising, who's doing any SEO, who's doing any brand reputation, like things like that. That's getting outsourced as well. So I say all that to say that your label will take care of a lot of the team building for you. If you were independent, this would be on you, but your label will usually already have the processes and the templates, the connections, and kind of the know-how to have all of that integrated where it's plug and play. They can insert you in as an artist and get things done. Your label will provide distribution. Distribution is a touchy one, only in the sense that back in the day, distribution used to be a very complicated process, right? The supply chain side of it can be very difficult because you gotta dot your I's, cross your T's, and like really make sure things are on point and your contracts are legit so you don't lose a lot of money. Nowadays, distribution is usually like streaming services. You should expect the label to take a big portion, probably majority, of the money you make. You should just expect that. That's no matter how you try to work that out, like a label is for the most part going to take majority of your money. If you're someone like a Drake, you're a Rihanna, you're a Hove, you're a Eminem, like, you can probably bypass that. You can probably get it to a point where the label does one or two things for you and they take a cut for those one or two things. They support you in a specific area, or even if they support you completely, a label probably would be fine taking 30% of a almost guaranteed $5 million for the work that they may put in. But as a newly signed artist, you should expect them to take majority of your money. And one of the last things I want to touch on as far as what you should expect or what a label will do for you, a label will really allow you to focus on what you want to focus on. If you're the type of artist that just want to focus on music, like, guess what? The label is taking care of the business side of things. The label is taking care of the marketing side of things. The label is taking care of a lot of stuff. So you can really focus on the music side. And if you're not that educated about like the marketing and business and admin side of things, it would be wise to if you're on a label, to soak in that knowledge, because you may not want to always be on a label. And when you sign that deal, they're gonna tell you're gonna have meetings, and people are gonna talk to you and say like, hey man, we think you should post this type of content. Instead of being, whether it be like defensive or just blindly agreeing to it, like ask why. Like, why does this content matter? Like, what are we trying to achieve? Where are we trying to go with this? You want to take all the knowledge that you get from a label and use that experience as like kind of like a college degree in a way, and learn how the game works. Because once you fulfill your contract, you're a free agent at that point. So you get to decide whether you think you can handle what the label was doing and do better, or if you say, okay, I know what they're doing, I don't need these 3 areas that you're taking 30% for. Like, I can handle that, but I'll still give you the same, I'll still give you your same 20% or 30% for what you was doing over here. So you can put more money in your pocket by taking more responsibilities, but you can only do that type of stuff if you know what's going on. If you don't know, you're going to set yourself up for failure, and you don't want to do that. So the thing I want you to take away from this video is that a record label isn't just evil. You hear a lot about there's no reason to sign to a record label nowadays. There's no reason to, record labels are evil. Record labels are out to get you. Like, there are plenty of documented cases where labels will like scheme and scam you out of money and scam you out of opportunities and like put you, in positions to fail, to basically shelf you and just say like, we gave you this bread and now we don't ever want to hear from you again. Like, that happens. But to lump all like record deals in that category is bad, because what that does is that paints a picture that you have to be independent and you have to do everything yourself. And honestly, for someone who's like in the hood or who's like unstable and like, like your life could take the turn for the worse at any moment, it's like you're presented with an opportunity to take some bread and learn some stuff and try to focus on your music career. That could, that signing to a label could be the best alternative for you. So like, you just need to think about like the label experience in general and what you want as an artist. So with that said, I'm Darius from Artist Shortcut. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. If you liked the video, at any point you found something interesting, please like the video. That helps the video reach more people. If it reaches more people, we get a bigger audience, which means we can do more cool things. So I'm Darius from Artist Shortcut, and until next time,